I got a Halloween story for you. It concerns a fungus and a worm. So let's spend a moment on nematodes. Okay, so nematodes are probably the most abundant animals on Earth. They're microscopic, but they are multicellular. So like tardigrades and rotifers, they're considered to be animals. They're found literally everywhere on Earth. They're in the soil, in the water, on and in plants, on and inside other animals. Roughly 80% of all the animals on Earth are nematodes. There are around 60 billion nematodes for every single human on Earth. There are at least 35 species that are known to parasitize humans. A worm by another name is still kind of alarming, and these ones have many other names. You've probably heard of roundworms and pinworms and hookworms, eelworms, vinegar worms. These are all nematodes. There are some that parasitize insects, lots that parasitize other animals. Others parasitize plants. They even have been known to parasitize themselves. There's a gruesome form of matricide that involves nematodes, where normally they lay eggs and, they hatch from these eggs, but under certain circumstances, they can hatch inside their mother's bodies. It often happens when food sources are scarce outside of the mother's body. So I don't know if this is some kind of mutual arrangement or what, but it's really terrible to watch. They hatch in their mother's body and then they eat their way out. They consume her from within and then they bust out. But that's a different subject for another video. This Earth, man, I tell you, it's full of mystery and intrigue. I mean, there's just so much we don't know about this planet, but we know there are lots of nematodes. So that is probably why certain fungi have developed. Well, they have developed a carnivorous taste for nematodes. They might eat other things too, but they specialize in nematodes. They are nematophagous, which is such a great word. I very rarely find the need to use that in a sentence, but it's just so much fun to live in a world where that's actually a word. Okay, so the point I want to make here is that, yes, some nematodes eat fungus. They'll eat their spores, they'll eat their little hyphae, they chew and puncture and suck the guts out of the cells of fungus. So, I guess this is just kind of tit for tat, but I'm going to share with you a really gruesome story about what fungus do to these worms. There are around 200 species of fungus that eat nematodes. Some of them are parasitic. Some of them use toxins and poisonous darts. So there are all kinds of ways that fungus will mess with nematodes. Specifically, what I want to talk about right now, because it's almost Halloween, is a really creepy thing that certain fungus do. Let's talk Arthrobotrys. Because Arthrobotrys is normally harmless. It just grows everywhere and lives in peace with nematodes. It normally just eats dead, decaying matter. But when it runs out of dead, decaying matter, specifically when it runs out of nitrogen, it gets kind of desperate. And it has the ability to sniff out nematodes by their pheromones. And when it detects that, oh yeah, of course there's nematodes around here because I'm growing on Earth and so it's full of nematodes, why then they do a different thing. They change their own morphology. They go from just kind of the usual straight and branching mycelium to suddenly weaving these loops, these lassos, and they'll make whole nets of these things that when a nematode climbs into it, it will spring like a trap. So it lays this trap and then it will send out chemical cues that smell like nematode food. So the nematodes come around, and when they stick their faces or their tails or any part of themselves into these loops, the loops will suddenly inflate and catch up this nematode. And it's just stuck now. And then the fun begins. It will pierce the nematode, and it will start sending its hyphae into the nematode's body, and it'll just start growing there. So a nematode will be slowly digested over a course of hours, and once it has eaten the nematode from the inside out, it will spring forth and bloom and weave another net and catch more nematodes. So that's weird, right? Anyway, but a lot of weird things happen to nematodes. There's just a lot of weird things happen to them. But, this is just one of those weird ways that our whole ecosystem is just kind of convoluted on itself. Life, living off of life, the whole Ouroboros thing, man. You got your nematodes that eat fungus and your fungus that eat nematodes, and just throw in the bacteria and just, oh my